Hey, welcome back to another episode of A to Z, you guys. Today is Juneteenth, you guys. Celebrations. We're free, technically, but we're figuring that out. But in the meantime, in the green time, thanks for checking in with us. Today, we're going to be talking about something, I don't know what, but first, I should introduce us. Below me to my right is my man Aaron Chase. He's going to be your resident yin. He represents the reality, the realism, the actual, the darkness. And I am Zero Remsen. I will be your resident Yang, representing the positive, the light, the naive, the airy fairy, like all of those things. And so now today, oh, did you have something?
I know what I want to talk about right now.
Okay, all right. So Aaron's got a topic to start us on. So go
It's
ahead.
po-
It's what?
it's positive.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah,
I like it when you do positive things.
every now and again.
It
Every once,
shows growth.
yeah. Um, I did my first book show.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, I did my.
Where'd you go?
I was emceeing at a birthday party, but in someone's backyard,
Oh,
and
okay. Man, you're really moving up the tiers. Now we're at birthday clown. No,
I got some money for it. Richard Villa booked me.
that's it.
Um,
That's what's
yeah,
up.
and I was nervous as fuck. I recorded it. I'm gonna have an
That's
ACMM come.
good. That's good.
Yeah,
Yeah. Look
I
forward to hearing it. How
yeah,
do you
man. I
feel about it? Or is that too much of a spoiler for ACMM?
It doesn't fucking matter. I
Okay. I don't know how you are with your content between here and there and street stand up and like where like are you do you just side tangent, are you a spoilers person? Like do you care about movie spoilers or any of that stuff when you consume media?
depends on the movie and depends on why I want to see the movie and how it's spoiled. So, like, if you're gonna spoil, this would be classic. If you're spoiling The Sixth Sense, assuming I don't know the twist, that's kind of fucked up. But
Right.
if you spoil Dazed and Confused, if you're just like, it's a movie, it's just kind of high schoolers hanging out in the '70s. That's
Mhm.
not. That's just the plot essentially. So it
Got
depends.
it. Okay. Okay.
My philosophy that I've built with my business end of this is what I've started to realize is that people actually like the behind the scenes of stuff.
Okay.
Um, so the more, at least from what I've seen, the more I talk about it in different areas and angles with different people, the more people seem to gravitate towards it.
Okay.
Um, you know that thing I would do with new comics, where I would break down comedy in that way that I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did that on the street. I've been doing that like 2 times on the street now,
Mhm.
and people are enthralled by it. They're
Yeah.
really interested in that, which I didn't expect to happen.
Yeah, and on paper that sounds like because you when you're doing it, it's like the actual of doing it, and there's a difference between like explaining it to people and like actually working them through the process. You know what I mean? Like there's a difference between like you understand like I always excuse me, I always use this metaphor and not metaphor, just comparison. There's a documentary that's somewhere on YouTube. I don't know what it's called, but I'm pretty sure if you look up Justin Timberlake's Justified documentary, there's just
Mhm.
like hours of behind the scene footage of him and Pharrell working on the Justified album. And
Yeah,
it's not like and here they are and here's a quick like how all the documentaries are now where it's like kind of like a nice like clip show of all the
yeah,
cool stuff and like maybe they're in the studio for 5 minutes of it and they talk back and forth about the cool stuff. No, it's like an hour long each video, and each video is Justin Timberlake doing a same riff like that senorita I feel for you, and it's like him doing that like 30, 40, 100 times over.
yeah,
And so like there's a difference between like making somebody watch that process. Like when you're the artist and you're doing it, like having the idea of somebody being interested in watching that process, like watching you go to mic after mic after mic. It's why we don't like have our significant others. Like we feel kind of guilty about making our friends go to watch us slowly build up material. Because for us, it's about doing it and it's nice. But when you just watch somebody doing it, it's like, yeah, you're doing the thing again.
I found a way to circumvent that on the street. Um, people have, I'm starting to, I think I said this before, I'm really famous in that one spot on earth. And so people recognize me, they come by, they listen again. and giving, it's all you need to do is give context. So
Right.
if you just are like, just so you know, this is how the process of comedy works. It might seem strange, it might be boring. Just let you know, and this is what it is. When you give people context like that, they seem to appreciate. Not only do they appreciate it, but it makes them more interested. But regardless, my first set,
Okay.
um,
So, yeah, super tangent.
yeah, it went really well.
That's good.
Yeah, I got paid. I was proud of my set. There was
How many
definitely
people, how many
what?
people were on the show, and how long was your set?
It was me hosting MC, then Joe L. Joe El Cholo. You heard of that guy?
No,
He's
but that's
missing
a
a
great
leg.
stage name.
Yeah, he's missing a leg. He's in a wheelchair, and
Oh, I'd remember that if I saw it, but no, I didn't know.
okay. Joe El Cholo, and then Richard Villa was like the headliner.
Okay.
Um, I was supposed to do like 10, and I looked at the recording. I did about 13.
Okay.
Uh, and the street stand, what I was scared of was like, what if street stand up is preparing me only to be able to do street stand up? Like, what if that is learning skills for this very niche thing?
I get
But
that.
when I was, yeah, man, when I was doing it, when I was actually at the show, it was like pretty easy because street stand up had taught me all of these different angles, everything like dealing with hecklers or dealing with inconveniences, loud noises, when to pause. George is laughing. Aaron Chase out here running lights. Oh, yeah, that's
What happened? Is there a story?
no, I'm not the type to run the light. And
Oh, got it. Yeah.
George, you haven't seen me in a long time. I've changed, bro.
He's a different man, George.
Different
He's
now.
become, you got to hear these new bits, man. He's going off the rails.
I'm no, but and even the material has a smoother, it's more comfortable. I feel more comfortable on stage. Uh, just overall, man, it was great, and I'm glad that
I'm glad. I'm a
I gra-
graduate. 2020. I graduated.
I'm glad I'm doing the street stand up thing, man. I think I've underestimated just how helpful doing that is, and to be doing it. Hello, to be
The
doing
comment waved.
yes, to be doing it for hours and hours at a time, and then I'm super excited about this. I'm proud of myself.
Hey, I'm just happy to see you happy, buddy. I don't know. People who are like tuning in right now, the episode that just went up is the polar opposite of the vibe that Aaron is giving right now. That's why I purposely had Will type it in all caps because I was like, this feels like where it was with it. But go
Yeah.
ahead.
Um, so I was out doing street stand up, and KJ asked to come out. I think I said this already. I'm very hesitant about bringing people out there for a lot of different.
Yeah, you talked about it.
Yeah, but KJ has consistently helped me out with comedy, and he's taught me a lot of things. And so I think it's only fair and reasonable that I give him an opportunity to also, I give him something back to some degree.
Right.
But finding that balance, he's not going to be out there with me every day. I'm still doing my thing. But he comes out and he forgot his mic, which was like, dude, what the fuck?
See, there's moments like that my brain, like, this is how long I've been indoors doing me, is I forget why I'm indoors, and I'll forget the coronavirus thing. Like, I know it is a thing. All the media addresses it, but like my brain legitimately is like, I'll start leaving the house and I'll be like, oh wait, mask, and then I got to go back in. So in my mind, when you told that story, they're like, he forgot his mic. Why can't he just use your mic? I'm like, oh right, there's a thing going on. Like, you can't just.
Two things. One, I wasn't going to let him use the mic because it's my goddamn mic, and I'm performing.
You're selfish.
Yes. This street stand, the buddy system was an unselfish endeavor. Street stand up is incredibly selfish for this is my thing that I do for me because it makes me happy.
Okay.
But regardless, so he forgets the mic. I'm hanging out doing my thing. He's just kind of hanging out, and then he gets next to me. He stands next to me, and he starts being fucking irritating. Yeah,
as we are wont to do.
oh yeah, and so at first, and this is something I'm still working on, still getting better at it. But at first, I was like, dude, what are you fucking doing? God damn it! Like you're fucking frustrating right now. And then over time, because I was out there for long enough, I were you there? Were you there when KJ was there? This could have been.
That's the thing. That's the thing about our comments is it's always delayed by I think like 2 minutes. So she's
Yeah.
either laughing at the fact that I didn't remember the coronavirus thing, or he's laughing at the fact that KJ was annoying. So it could be
Yeah.
either or. Anywho,
But he was being frustrating, and I could tell he was doing it on purpose. And he also was able. This is a very impressive thing. I had a mic, he didn't. He was still able to grab the audience,
yeah,
and that is like, I mean, you know what it's like to have a mic. You have way more control over a situation.
Yeah.
So the fact that he was able to do that was like, all right, let me see
Yeah.
what he's doing.
Yeah, it's really one of those things where, and I've talked about this on when I was on Stephanie's podcast, and it's very interesting how much of the art form of stand up is kind of zen, like how much of it is energy control. Like yes, the mic helps and it does things like obviously like when you're in a venue or something like that, it's like a uh it's like something that I can't think of a good metaphor, but it's like something that hypes up the thing that makes it better. But you as a bass could do that same thing without
Right.
the mic. The mic is an extra thing. And like that's what you see when KJ steps on, having that energy control that it's like it doesn't matter that you have the mic. I am in control of the room, and people on a higher level who have been doing it for years are more in control of that. It's very
Yeah.
fascinating.
It was interesting. And so we started doing that. And when it clicked, like he's still able to take control of this audience, even though I have a mic right now, even though I've already built rapport with these people, because a lot of them have seen me before. So I was watching and I was like, all right, clearly I'm going to need to shift some gears here. I can't do the things that I had been doing out there. And so do you drive stick?
Nah, but I get the premise.
Right. So it's like when you first learn to drive stick, there's some gear grinding, and it's a little awkward. But when I shifted into that gear, I was able to do it. And so I'm proud of myself for being able to shift into it, being able to kind of keep up with his whatever the fuck he's doing.
Right.
And then he left, and the same people were there. He left, and the energy immediately shifted. Immediately, it was like, well, what's Aaron going to do now? Because we've been doing this back and forth. I haven't been working on material. Like it's just been a back and forth.
Right.
So I started being like, I guess I'll work on material. But the energy, you've seen Supreme Scream?
No.
You know the roller coasters where you just go up and then they fucking drop you?
Yeah.
It was like that.
Mine's back in Missouri. Ours was called the detonator. It shoots you up and then you just rock and then it drops you way down and then it shoots you back up.
Ours was called Supreme Scream. Regardless, so that happens. The energy flatlines, and I start trying to do material, and immediately I was like, this isn't going to work. And so I just got into first person, and I said, you know what, it's going to be me. And I told them like, okay, guys, well, obviously the energy's changed, and it's going to change, and I'm going to be me, and I'm not going to try to act like KJ. I'm going to be me. You're going to get that from me. That it is what it is. And people still stayed and they listened, and I was able to get it back to control over it. And I was really proud of that. Because it was a hard thing to do. It was the first time I started bombing out there in a long time. And so I think what I'm going to do is every now and again, I'm going to bring them out there so I can do whatever deal with that and figure out how to navigate that a little better. But it was good, man. It was good stuff.
Okay. That's very interesting. I do find, again, that's one of the things that I love the most about it is that the back and forth of dynamics of like energy control dealing. As much as I personally don't like dealing with audience, I just kind of like doing my stuff and it being my stuff. At the same time, there's something to like taking people on that emotional roller coaster and the difference, like where you're like kind of improving it, figuring it out versus like, oh, this is my plan, this is my bit, I'm doing the bit this way. And it's good that like, yeah, you're learning not to be like hard-headed about it. That like some comedians are like, I feel the energy shifted, but I'm just gonna power through. And sometimes I am that. Sometimes I become that, and I'm like, I'm gonna power through regardless. Other times I'm like, you know what? It's fine. Let me just address it, and then we'll move past it. And so those are all. It's very fascinating to say like, what would you say was the vibe when KJ was there? Like, what was the difference in the vibe there versus when you're doing your bits and people are rocking with it?
Have you seen King of Staten Island yet?
Not yet, but I saw a lot of the previews for it. I go back and forth with not Keith David,
He did.
Pete Davidson. Like sometimes I'm like, I get it. Other times I'm like, I don't get it.
You
Like
would
his
really,
appeal as a whole.
you should really watch King of Staten Island. I'll see if I can come up with a better example, but when it was me and KJ, the vibe was the Boondocks.
Okay.
So it had this black slant to it. It was punchy, it was jokey, it was cynical, it was aggressive with each other, and it was fun. I wouldn't say lighthearted, but it was fun. And whenever I was able to shift into my mode, it was like King of Staten Island or more somber, and in a good way, like in an engaging way. The audience was very like, oh, this is different. This is very different from what was happening. Hello. Someone said hello. So
I can see that. Yeah, I could see where that would be a hard energy change. I was talking to Dro about this, where like people who are considered greats are people who like create, like there's this thing in people, I think that, and this is about to be a bunch of catch-all stuff, but bear with me. It's like people like to understand things within the context of a box. And the first and foremost is like, in order to get on and understood and have people listen to you at all, is to create a box. So then they go, oh, you're this guy, you're this. But the people who are great are the ones that create that box and then expand it. So like when let's say Kevin, right? Kevin comes in, stand-up comedian.
Who's Kevin?
Hart.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So Kevin comes in, stand-up comedian. He's a stand-up comedian guy. He's funny. Then he does acting in movies. Then he does fitness. Then he does like all the things that he does, and people recognize him as a great. When Dave comes in, he's a comic, but then he has a skit show. But then he comes back to doing comedy even greater. And like it's the people that are multi-talented and find a way to like extend the box. And again, even inside that box is like expanding. So what I'm saying, to bring that back to what I'm saying about you, is when you're talking to KJ and the vibe is like Boondocks, or you start and people come and they're used to you. They're used to like somber, Aaron's gonna talk about his stuff. Like you can, those are the two boxes. When you jumped from this box into KJ Fun Box, and just by the sheer energy of those two things, one is fun, one is somber, people are going to gravitate towards the fun one. When you go from the fun one back to the somber one, like you're going to lose people, but those that like can do it seamlessly, like break that box and you become both. And it's like, I see the process of like, yeah, you having him out there is making you find that in between, find that like connecting thread. And I get where, like, again, it is a part of the street stand-up thing that, like you said, you want to keep it to yourself, you want to keep it personal, but that is the great thing. And you know this, but it's like the working with others, the dealing with others force you to expand. Because if you never had KJ out there, you just be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be the somber guy, and it's always somber. And it's like, until you're looking at others and having them in the moment feel it with you, it's like riding a bike. You can read about it, you can watch it, but until you're doing it, you're not doing it.
Yeah.
And so it's very fascinating.
And the other thing I was really happy was that I was able to keep up a little bit. Like, not even a little bit, but I was able to, I think the audience could tell the difference. They could tell, like, okay, KJ he's very much in his element with the vibe that we're going. Like, he's clearly been doing this a while. And they could tell that I've also been doing this a while, and I have, but I'm following his vibe. He's dictating this energy right now, so I'm just kind of rolling with it, and they can feel that.
Right.
I want to make it so that they wouldn't be able to tell the difference who's creating this vibe.
Yeah.
And when he leaves, that I can turn it back down. And that's the thing, KJ. If you ever watch this, you better watch out, bitch. Better watch out, because here's what I'm gonna do. Here's what I'm doing. I'm learning how to do what KJ does. KJ doesn't seem to be learning how to do what I do, though. He can't do what I do. I don't think. I've never seen him do that. So I'm gonna eventually. It's gonna take a long time. It's gonna take a lot of work, but I'm going to surpass him eventually if he doesn't learn how to do what I do. So we'll see.
Right. Okay. Well, I believe in you. I definitely am obviously a fan of the whole not being one thing like that. I like the going back and forth between it's why I enjoy Dave and why I enjoy the people that I think are higher tier are those that can have a deep somber moment, but then they're not all that, and then also very fun. That's why even though sometimes I have him in there, sometimes I don't. In my top 5, I always kind of throw a special mention if he's not in the top 5, Bo Burnham, because the way he does comedy is very, very I would say he's super influential to me because he talks about his stuff, his mental stuff, and how he deals with it in the act of performing and all that stuff. But then he flips you back into being no, it's just straight up a joke. It's just straight up a joke. And this is a bit. And then it's not a bit. And then it is a bit. And then it's not a bit. And it's I like that back and forth. I like that up and down. And it's it's cool to me. Again, it's very interesting. So what would you say is, pre doing street stand-up and doing a show versus post doing street stand-up in a show?
What is the difference?
Yeah, what's the difference between you before doing street stand-up and doing a show and you now having done street stand-up and doing a show?
Comfort on stage, immense comfort on stage. Even obviously adrenaline's going up, different spot, but comparatively, I would say that I'm far more comfortable. And
also, what was it like being back in the context of actually a performance where street stand-up is kind of a little more loose. You can do whatever. You can drop the act, as it were, and be just talking.
Yeah, that was the other thing, was that I was at a pool party and it was a bunch of older Latino women and a bunch of gay dudes. And they were talking is the moment I came in, I'm not even exaggerating, the moment I walked in, immediately, oh, the stripper's here. And that's
we know what this is about to be. Happy birthday to me.
Spoilers to the recording. I take off my clothes during the show.
Oh, interesting. Are you going to? So is the ACMM just still gonna be audio, or are you doing the audio version on Podbay and then cutting in the clips on the video version?
There's no video of it.
Oh, so you meant you recorded the audio of?
I recorded the audio. So
you're not a video stand-up. You don't record video of yourself.
I would love to, but I don't have it's too much work. Too much work to do all that. So I'm just doing audio right now.
What type of phone do you have?
Android.
How am I talking to you?
Through the phone.
Does it not have a camera app?
Yeah, it's happening right now.
Okay, well, you understand my confusion. It's
it is easier for me to just press audio record and put the phone next to me rather than set up and figure out I'm just lazy.
Got it. Okay. All right. Fair. More than fair.
So,
do you think you'll ever get to that, or do you feel like it's not worth it to you?
No,
there are some people that it's not worth it to.
No, I'll get to there eventually. Just right now, I'm focused on this. I'm focused on the sound, and then eventually I'll look at my body and I'll get there. Just process. Okay. But the show, the vibe was not like the street. I could not. There was jokes I was like, I just can't do this joke here. It's not going to work, and I know it's not going to work. It's too dark.
Do you care to give an example?
Yeah, there's one joke where I literally say the word faggot, and it was like these people are not. This is a pool party. This is a birthday. This is not time for me to get all political or whatever. So I didn't say something like that. There was another one where I say that. Oh, okay. Do you want me to just say the joke? Would that be easier?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. So I said that there's good crazy and there's bad crazy.
Yeah.
Good crazy invents things like the iPod or college dropout, and bad crazy invents ovens that hold human beings, and
Okay.
they
Okay.
treat elementary schools like a game of Call of Duty.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Well, not for a pool party. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And so in street stand up, it's not always dour. Like sometimes I'm being goofy. It depends on my mood. But knowing the vibe of the room, I was like, I can't. There's certain jokes I should not be doing here. I got to make sure that the way I do my jokes comes off a little more playful. I was just matching their energy.
Right.
And
Where do you personally find the line between like a just self-awareness? Well, I guess that already tells me that's my answer essentially, is like the self-awareness of it. But it's like, where do you draw the line on I'm doing this for them and I'm doing this for me? Like when you're doing a show,
yeah,
knowing your demographic and playing like not placating or anything, but like you understand what jokes will and will not work.
yeah.
Whereas as opposed to it, like I know this is funny, even though this is not the necessary demographic for it. I'm gonna make it funny to you specifically. Where do you find your distinction is, or are you still finding it?
I think I'm still finding it, and I think it depends on the context of the show. So if I'm at the Ice House, or if I'm at a comedy club, fuck you. I'm doing, at least at this point. I don't know what the future holds, but right now, if I'm booked at if I'm booked at the Ice House, fuck you. I'm performing how I want to perform. We're at a comedy club. You know this is what this is.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm at a backyard pool party with a birthday, and I'm being paid to host. This is not the fucking Aaron show. I'm being paid to entertain these people,
Right.
so I'm going to fucking entertain them. This is also my job, so I would say that's.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead. You entered, the vibe was different, so you knew certain jokes wouldn't work, and then.
And I just like comfort, man. It really is coming down to a lot of comfort on stage, and understanding myself. So like. Eventually, you'll hear all of these new jokes. If you listen to the ACMM, you'll hear a lot of new shit in there. And I'm sure it'll be evident that I'm coming at this from a very different angle now. And it just feels loose. Oh, okay. Do you know Daniel Sloss?
Yes, me and a friend recently watched his Jigsaw thing.
What'd you think?
I thought it was pretty legit.
Yeah.
I really liked it for the same reason that I say I like people who dip into the darkness and like dip into the real and have stuff to say, but then also make a bit out of it. I mean, don't get me wrong, the base of his stuff, like if it wasn't for the Jigsaw section of his special, I probably would have been like, yeah, he's cool, but like my sense of humor doesn't lean dark. Like it's not like, yeah, and then baby death. Like that's unless I want to press that button. But in general, it doesn't. It'll make me laugh, but it's not where I go to. Whereas I did like all his thing about the relationship stuff and the metaphor that he used and all that jazz. Anywho.
For me, I'm sure you already know, that was an incredibly powerful special for me. Especially because it came out around the very end of my last breakup. Yeah. So watching, I was like, yes, yeah, I'm making my Jigsaw. Fuck everyone else, I'm making my Jigsaw. Right. And so I was taking a lot of influence from that. But the problem was it was too rigid. And I knew it was rigid. If I listen back to the ACMM, I know I talk about how it's a very rigid process and that over time I'll expand. And I think that quarantine and all of the protests and all this stuff put pressure on me to expand faster. So over time, I was expanding that regardless, but all of the context of what's going on in the world just made it happen really fast. Okay. And so now it's just very loose. It doesn't feel so formulaic anymore. It feels like it's breathing, feels very open. And it feels like because it's open, I have the ability to make it dark and make it somber, or make it light and goofy, or get political, or like I'm finding all of these other angles with it. And I think the most important thing that I learned, I think I told you this, what I stand for, that I wrote out what I stood for.
No, I don't remember that. If you did, then I'm a monster.
That's fine. This was pre-protest. So during quarantine, I was watching a YouTube video, and it was like, how to not care what people think. And one of the suggestions was if you write out what you stand for, essentially, write out what you believe in and what your morals, where your ethics are. Follow that, and then it won't matter what anyone else is saying or thinking. So I think before I had solidified, like, well, what is it that I believe? Ultimately, like, morally in my gut, what is it that I believe? And what is it? What am I willing to die for, essentially? Right. And before that, I didn't establish it. So when people would get offended or upset, or their feelings would be hurt, or they had differences of opinions, I took all of that in my heart, if that makes sense. And I was like, I took every single possible, I took everyone's angle and I put it in my heart. And it's too much. And I think it comes from a good place. It comes from wanting to understand and not try to offend or hurt people's feelings. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, then you have all of these you have all of these different beliefs, and you're not solidifying your own, if that makes sense. Yeah. So once I solidified, like, okay, here's what I stand for. Here's what I believe. Here's what I'm going to try to follow to the best of my ability. If someone dislikes it, disagrees, is upset by it, I take that into consideration, but I know the core of what I believe in. And so now, like, when I'm on stage, I really, in many, many ways, I just don't give a shit anymore. Okay. And that was a big click for me. Is like, I'm tired. I don't care. I don't care if you don't like it.
And that's the thing. You've mentioned this before, and I'm very interested in what it used to be, because as like, maybe again, as somebody who isn't you and doesn't have your brain, I don't know. And again, I just see you on stage and I see the material that you make, and I'm sure that it is different now. And if I saw it, I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah. But since we don't have the world where I could just pop in on you, it's like, okay. But what would you say is like, what are the kinds of thoughts that would be like affecting you while you're doing your bits? Like where now you're like, I don't care. What did you used to care about?
I didn't care that much about, I care, you know what? It went people's feelings, then what they thought, like the emotions versus the logic and what they're actually thinking, the logistics of it. And I put their feelings in before that, and I still do. I care about how people feel. Like, I'm not out to hurt anybody. I speak hyperbolically when I'm passionate about something. You can feel it, and I'll say fucked up stuff because I am passionate. But I'm not out to, even, and I know if you listen to the episode prior to this, you'll probably be shocked when I say this. Even the Trump people that I'm around, like, at the end of the day, man, as long as you leave me alone, just leave me alone. It's fine. You believe what you believe. Right. So I do care. I care about people's feelings. Like, I know I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. Yeah. But at the same time, I think college fucked me up because I was getting hammered and attacked for everything I said. And so it made me feel like constantly second guessing everything I'm thinking and saying and joking about. So now when I'm on stage, I just try to assume people understand I'm joking. And if they don't understand I'm joking, then I will elaborate afterwards. So rather than explaining myself before, I'm just going to say the thing. And then if there's a problem or an issue, we can deal with it afterwards. Yeah. Like, my intentions are pretty fucking pure. I've come to realize I just want to be a comic. I don't want to be famous. I don't want to be rich. I just want to have fun, tell jokes, smoke weed, hang out with my friends, and live my life, at least right now. So I think that when it comes to what I stand for, that's reasonable. You would have to be reasonable.
Mm.
And so I think I'm just in this place of like, man, if you don't like me, that's fine. If I've hurt your feelings, honestly, I'm sorry and we can talk about it. And if you don't want to deal with me, I understand. I'm irritating. So don't be around me. It's really simple.
Yeah.
And I've talked a lot, so go ahead.
No, that's. I mean, it's very interesting. I asked the question for the answer. It's like,
Yep.
yeah, my thing has.
I put it right there. It's on the garage.
Brief intermission.
Yeah, it's right there. Yeah, I know. I just I'm doing a recording right now with a friend of mine, so when I'm done, I'm gonna put up the rest. Okay.
Oh, family. It really does give it a context. For those of you that think we're like, you ever have that? Like, I think we talked about this before. That weird disconnect between like the people who see you on the street and are like, "Oh man, you're the dude, you're doing it, all this stuff," and like the people who like see like you do stand up and are like, "Oh, you're a comedian," and then like it's like you know what your life is,
Yeah.
and then it's like the behind the scenes of that.
I've been worried about that actually.
Really?
Well, when I'm out there on the street, the context, I think I said this before, but the context in which I'm gaining a lot of followers is unique. It's very strange.
Hmm.
It's like the reason all of these people are following me right now is because, or following me and becoming fans of this shit is because, partly because of what the world is right now, that it's super heightened. And it just so happens that my issues are directly connected to what is going on in the world.
Right.
And so I'm out there and I'm passionately talking and Black Lives Matter, all that stuff. So on an emotional and political level, they're resonating with me, but they don't know they don't know the other aspects of me. And they don't know that I say sexist shit and that I say like,
and they signed up for it and they're gonna like, no.
yeah. I've been writing material for the street just so people understand, like, hey, look, I'm not fucking Martin Luther King. Like, I'm a comedian.
Right.
That's it. And so like that's been something that's been concerning me a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, and like that'll come out one way or another. Again, it's like you said, it's like when you're like, I don't care, I'm gonna say my stuff.
Yeah.
Like eventually the people who are rocking with you will rock with you and they'll understand. And those that won't will be like, oh, I thought he was this. Well, I'll just go over here. And that's fine. It's as it should be. It just means that like the people who love you will love you.
Yes. I have two things. Okay.
I had a thought, but I lost it, so it's fine. Just
Okay.
I'll probably go back to it.
Two things.
Okay.
Okay. So the first thing is in the focusing on myself and the creating what I stand for. And I still miss quarantine. It is giving me a little anxiety knowing we're slowly, mics are
we're in phase 3?
Something.
4? That's the thing. I always find it funny because the only way I've really understood phases is via Marvel movie. It's like we're in phase 4 of quarantine. And I'm like, oh man, phase 4.
The idea of like, oh, we got to start these mics up again. I'm gonna have to deal with people again.
Mm-hmm.
Actively bothers me. So I think when we start up again, I'm gonna be probably pretty walled off. I'm just gonna go in corners and I'm gonna do what George has been doing the past couple.
You were onto something, man.
You
didn't tell me there was a reason.
Really, he really on the ground floor was like, oh, I'm gonna stay out of this and let Aaron.
I know humans. I'm
Stage
not dealing with
two.
Stage. Oh, we're in stage 2.
Stage
really?
2 wave. The second wave is coming in, I guess.
So we're 4, or
I don't know.
Okay. Fine.
Regardless.
Yeah. We're halfway, you guys. Halfway. Month 6. Anyway.
The second from people has made me so much happier. Like every time I'm like, what if people are talking shit? Because I'm sure they are. What if they're saying that? Then I'm like, well, I'm in my garage and they're not here with me right now, so I don't.
Right.
So I don't care.
Mhm.
And then the yeah. Stage two, stage two, wave
Okay.
two.
Stage two, wave two. It's very interesting in the way that, like, I don't know, man. What counts as a stage? What counts as, are we talking about the stage is what's happening, like where we're going, and the wave is what's happening to us? Okay.
Okay, so
That is what you do when parents are in the room. Just pretend to be
yeah.
talking about something else.
Uh, but the second,
Me and my, this is just tiny little moment like that. Me and my ex, one time we were in my mom's basement, doing what kids do.
of
And
course,
like, I specifically told her, I was like, hey, so if my mom comes down, you know how like you do the quick fix? Like you try to pretend like nothing's going on really fast. It's like that draws more attention to it. So if
yeah.
she comes down, we gotta be chill about it. And then we start doing stuff. And sure enough, like I start hearing stuff, and I'm the one who's like, like, and I was like, it's just such a natural reaction to be like overly normal. Just like,
You're breathing heavy.
yeah, it's just like nothing weird. It's like totally something weird happened. But
Yeah.
go ahead. Sorry. So
So,
you were saying.
so I think I said this to you before, but you know how people say like, I'm glad I went through all the stuff I went through so I could be.
Yeah.
That always got on my nerves
Mhm.
because I was still going through the stuff I needed to go through.
Right.
It's not to say that I'm done. Obviously, you grow and you change or whatever.
Yeah. No.
But I like that is annoying. When you're going through it, it doesn't feel like there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. And
And
everybody coming around being like, it's going to be okay. Hey, man, you'll be fine. Hey, it's like, it feels, and I'm learning this because I'm dealing with a friend of mine who's going through some stuff. And
yeah,
as she's been going through things, it's like dealing with, like, because you know me, I am the yang for a reason. I'm super airy fairy. I'm super nice. So my brain is always like, yeah, Annie, the sun will come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that. Like, that's my
yeah,
mindset. But like, I'm learning that when you're in it, you don't want to hear that. You're not like, oh man, the stuff. Yeah, that's what I want to tell me that I'm kind of stupid. Like, it feels like you're calling me dumb for worrying about the thing. It's like you want to feel validated. Like, in a weird way, the whole misery loves company thing. There's a lot of it that's bad, and you understand. But then there's a level of it that's just like, I want to be understood. It's like I want you to get that. Like, it sucks. Like when you keep telling me it's not gonna suck later, it makes me feel like the thing that sucks right now shouldn't suck. And like
yeah.
you said before, I feel crazy, I feel stupid, I feel dumb, and that's just making me beat on myself more. And like, I'm learning that like you reach people where they're at. If they're
Yeah.
in a space where they're like, it sucks, you just play the it sucks game until they peter out of energy on that, and then you introduce like, well, hopefully it'll get better.
Or if you're going to tell me it'll get better, then add something productive for me to do. Give me
Yeah.
something, so just don't. It's like if I'm depressed, don't say, well, just be fucking happy. You're not helping.
Yeah. Right.
So regardless, I've hit a place where I do have an appreciation for that now because of what I'm about to tell you now. So
Okay.
apparently, and I'm not going to say people's names, but
Good.
yeah, I've stopped doing that. But apparently, so I was out doing street stand up, and I'm gonna keep this vague.
Okay.
An old friend came with another friend of hers. So two girls came. One of them's
Okay.
an old friend, and one of them is just like a friend of that friend. So they
Okay.
come, they're hanging out, and they're hanging out for hours. I'm just doing this shit I normally do. This was like a week and a half ago, I think, maybe even 2 weeks. I'm not sure.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, I get this message this morning saying that her friend told her boyfriend that I was hitting on her or something, and I wasn't. And
The
so,
the the friend of yours got told that her boyfriend or the other
I'm
girl.
going to make up names. Let me make up
Okay,
names.
that would help just for the
Yeah.
help of me understanding it.
Chelsea is my friend.
Okay, Chelsea's your friend.
Chelsea brought Veronica. I don't know Veronica.
Chelsea and Veronica. You don't know Veronica, you know Chelsea. Okay.
Chelsea and Veronica hang out for hours, I do my thing. This is
Right.
about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Then this
Okay.
morning, I get a message from Chelsea saying that Veronica
Okay.
told her boyfriend that I was hitting on her.
Okay.
And I was not.
Yeah.
And,
No, I get it.
yeah. And so
What
the
is that? Just real quick, what does that do for anyone? It was
from
was Chelsea warning you like, look out, there might be some guy that's mad at you, or like,
I don't know. That's the thing. It was super vague. It was just like, here's information. Here are the facts that this is what's been said. So I don't know the context or why it got brought up. From what I understand,
why did you get brought up? That's also another
I
side.
don't know.
This is such a weird, like, even if, let's say, even if you were hitting on her,
Yeah.
her going back to like, here's how it is with me and my relationship. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
It was to get his attention. She likes to, from what I understand, she likes to make him jealous.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Got it.
that's
So it was less about you, or you just happened to be the dude that day.
yeah. And what's fucked up about that is I'm like, I still never take for granted that I'm out there and it's dangerous.
Yeah.
That like, I don't know what this fucking guy looks like. He can easily know what I look like, but I don't know what the fuck he looks like. And so if he wants to attack me before we can even like discuss something, then we have a problem. So like,
it's such a weird point to have to make with some guy who's angry. Like because that used to happen to me at the club sometimes, which,
yeah,
to be fair, I was more, they weren't completely wrong, but it's usually in the context that I don't know that you guys are dating. It's always that thing where you go and talk to a girl who's standing by herself or with like a group of girls, and then some dude shows up out of nowhere and is like, that's my girlfriend. It's like, how was I to know that? You weren't around. But like, it's that thing where it's like trying to explain to a dude that it's like, it's fine. like a dude is like, my girlfriend said you hit on her. It's like, I don't want her. Like,
yeah.
I'm fine. Like, I promise you. And your insecurity about it doesn't make you more attractive, and it doesn't make her like, oh man, now I'm gonna stay with him for sure. It makes you look like I could get her. Like, it's one of those things. I was just talking to Drew about this, not to tangent too much. I'll cut this off. But I've been saying recently that at least here, from what I've experienced, I can't speak for everybody, from my experience in California, specifically the areas that I've been in, girls with boyfriends, way easier than single girls. Like, there's something about the energy, and I do think it has something to do with how their boyfriends are super jealous and insecure and weird, that just by the fact that I'm new and not doing that to her, she's like, yeah, this will be fine. And if he thinks I'm cheating anyway, I might as well. Like, it's just, it's so, ugh. But sorry, go ahead.
No, it's fine, man. But in going to the whole appreciating the past, I've been there before. Partly my fault sometimes not my fault, but I've already experienced it.
Yeah, we got 10 minutes. Just letting you know.
When we get down to like a minute, let me know. We'll see if we can end or not.
Okay.
But I've had this type of experience before. I know how to navigate this. And I'm used to people, at this point, I'm just used to people fucking despising me. And so I guess I'm just appreciative of like, I already did all of that. I'm good. I know I'm refused to go backwards because I know what backwards is. And now that I have light, I'm like, okay, let's go towards the light. Let's go towards that. But that type of stuff, so little things like that have been happening through street stand-up, like through the mild level of, I hate calling it fame.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Yeah,
the mild level of acknowledgement, I don't know.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Is weird. It's super weird.
Yeah, and again, it is always, especially the weirdest when you're in the level that you're actually at versus what people see it as.
They don't know that I'm not like a headliner.
Yeah. It's crazy where it's like, that's the thing, and I've always said this, it's kind of how do I put this? Not the Achilles heel, but it is that balance of like, you can be an amazing artist and just an amazing artist. But if your marketing is bad, then it doesn't matter. You might as well be nobody. You might as well be bad. Like, you can be great, but if nobody knows you and you don't have anything to follow or share or any of that stuff, it doesn't matter. Same, the opposite direction. If your marketing is really good, if people believe that you're a thing, you're just as good as that thing, no matter how trash you actually are. The acclaim, like, how much people are like, this is gonna sound really weird. I'm trying to find a nice way to say it. It's how much people, and it's nobody's fault. This is kind of human nature in a certain degree, and with the internet and everything, it's like we're all together, but equally we're all separated. Where it's like you want to be a part, you want to fit in, you want to be with the group, you want to understand what everybody's talking about. Tiger King popped off just like everything else popped off because everybody was talking about it. Everybody, even if you didn't want to acknowledge Tiger King, even if you didn't want to deal with Tiger King and nothing about it on paper meant anything to you, you had to have an opinion. You had to have an opinion. You were like, I don't care about that because it's a bunch of crazies being crazy. Or you were like, yeah, okay, I'm into those crazies and that's interesting and I will look it up. Or you were somewhere in between. Because it was in the zeitgeist and we were all talking about it, that gives it the clout. So in the same way that, like, they don't know you're a headliner, it's playing
not a headliner.
Huh?
They don't know that I'm not a headliner.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
They don't know that you're not a headliner. And just the fact that you're out there, you're doing it, you're making people laugh, people are watching you, that gives the illusion that you must be something. And the more, it's like the rich get richer, the more you look like the thing, the more they start treating you like the thing, the more they start treating you like the thing, the more you become the thing. And it's this very meta nebulous world because they're not going to do, like, nobody, it's kind of the same way the news works. Very few people actually do their own research. Very few people actually look into things. So if you put somebody in front of people enough, it's why advertising works. Why advertising works is because if I throw an image in front of you enough times, eventually your brain will be like, well, maybe I should try that. Maybe is anybody doing this? Is anybody else getting it? What's going on? Like, I'm seeing it so much. It's like we all know the slogans. We all know how they work. We all know the jingles. It's like there's a reason for that. And when you do it with a person, it elevates them regardless. Like, just by sheer, like, recognizability. Like I've said once upon a time, I really believe at the same time that I do give the Kardashians a lot of credit. But, like, the main joke with them is, like, what do they do? I mean, now we know what they do. They sell brands and their image and all that stuff. But, like, when they first came out, it was like, what are they? Who are they? It was just the fact that it's like, I legitimately believe we're at a point, and I don't think it's not even different. I think this is just what it has always been. We're just learning this because marketers have already known this, but, like, our modern people are finding it out because we have so much control over what media we do and don't let in. We're finding out that you don't have to be good necessarily. I truly believe that you could take a nothing person with no skills, no charisma, nothing. And if you just threw them in front of people so much that somebody would be like, yeah, I like it. And then somebody else would like it. And somebody else would like it. And then there'd be a group of people that like it and a group of people that hate it. And then they're a person. They're a thing now. And it doesn't matter what you are. Now, luckily, you do have to come with something. Like, as of right now, we've all been taught to come with something. But, like, in general, I do believe, like, people take what they're given for the most part.
Yeah. I think with the marketing thing, I think right now, I think my marketing is on point. Mm-hmm. And I want to make sure that this building of the skill does not get lost. Like, right now, I told you my plan with the shirts.
Yes. Yeah.
So in case you're listening and you don't know, basically, there's some jokes out there.
Yeah, I'm like, you do have to restate because we lost that episode.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So basically, I have some jokes out there. One in particular that people have emotionally latched onto, where I talk about where I'm, like, around crazy people all the time and they have 3 a.m. Denny's energy, basically. And every time I would tell that joke, I would see people's eyes light up. They would be like, yeah, I have that. And so what I've done is now I'm going to make merch connected with all of those jokes. The ones where the people seem to be most emotionally connected to, I put them on shirts, I put them on stickers, and I'm going to sell those. So like, I understand how marketing works. You just got to hook into people's feelings. But at the same time, I'd never, ever want to get rid of the learning the skills of stand-up comedy and getting better. It's just that balance.
Right. Yeah. You don't want to become the guy who doesn't have the skills, but people love because people love.
Yeah.
Like everybody else likes them, so I like them. Doesn't matter what they are creating. It's like, while that does do great for job security, for your soul and your integrity, and like all the stuff of like, I'm forcing you to pay me money to do a thing. It's like, as an artist, you want to make sure that balance is there. And I mean, again, that's where your focus even is. That shows me that probably will be fine. Like, just the fact that you're like, we just got into like the t-shirts and it's this much of a segment, is like, that's not what your thing you're doing is out there. Out there, you're building the craft. And so,
I'm super excited for hitting 1,000 followers. I think that's going to be like a springboard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something about those numbers, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. People like to down talk it because, I mean, the modern person, right? Somebody who's not trying to do this and isn't in entertainment, isn't trying to be an actor, a singer, a rapper, or comedian or writer, someone who doesn't need the acclaim and all the stuff, especially with the way the industry works. Like, they like to look down on, like, why do you care about likes? Why do you care about followers? Like, you guys are so obsessed with this culture of liking and following and all this stuff. It doesn't mean anything. Those people aren't your friends. They don't mean anything. It's like, well, it doesn't mean anything to you in the modern day because you're not doing anything with it. You don't, there's no reason for like Becky the nurse to have 1,000 followers. Because she's not really doing much. She goes to work, she comes home, she takes pictures of her family and her pets. Like, it's not really important. But as far as us, it is a measurement of like, we're growing. We're growing in the amount of like people, how many people we're resonating with. Like, these are the people who are going, I want to see more content from you. I like, because Becky's getting followers because they're like friends and family or dudes that are thirsty about her. But like, we're getting it because we'd like to believe. I'm sure there is an element of like, some people like us because we're attractive black men. But like, we have 17 seconds. Okay, so I'm going to end this and start it back up. For those of you who are in the room, we're going to be right back. This is just a quick break, and then we'll probably wrap it up and call that an episode.
Okay, what were we saying?
I was talking about something.
People's perception. Oh, so 1,000 followers, and
for people like us, people in the entertainment industry, it is a market. It is a measurement stick. Because as a comedian, like, you're not in. You can measure. There are certain measurement sticks. There's the in the moment measurement stick of being on stage and being able to get laughs and how hard those laughs are and how big those laughs are. And then there's the measurement stick of your overall, like, are you good enough that people want to come back, that they want to see more of you? Because that is important. You need like a continual funnel of people that are willing to see you if you want to make this your lifestyle, if you want to make this like what you're getting paid for. It's a good measurement stick for us. So I understand it. I get where that, again, I've been going up on YouTube very, very slowly, but I'm now at 112, and it's just like inching up. And I know it like, it's not friends and family because I've had a YouTube for a long time, and I'm pushing it on things that aren't that, and I'm working with different things to try to get that up. And so, yeah, it's all good stuff, and I believe in you. And they say, and again, each one is an actual landmark, because once you hit 1,000 on Instagram, I think that's when they start like offering you certain benefits.
Like what?
It's just the basic like influencer stuff. Like, oh, you can start linking like your YouTubes and stuff. Like, instead of just making a post with a screenshot, you can actually copy and paste the link into your thing, so people can just click your story and they'll go straight to it. And so it's a little bit like that.
Yeah, it's good. I'm trying to make sure that I'm trying to just make sure that it's the craft first, you know? And I purposefully did not go out on the street for like 3 nights in a row
Mm.
because it's hard because I'm like, oh, I have momentum. Let's fuck get it. I got momentum. Let me get more and more and more. And that's what the fuck happened with the buddy system before quarantine was we had momentum and I was like, let's fucking get this shit. And eventually you get tired and I don't want to do that. So I just took a couple of days. I'm gonna go out there tonight again. But it's just surreal. Like it's a surreal feeling, and I know that it doesn't. Obvious. I hope it doesn't fucking stop here. I want to end here. I want to keep growing. That I'm not going to be the king of fucking Redlands. I don't fuck that. But,
Yeah, that is the
but
thing is like, do you see at what point would you cap it as far as like, I need to now move? Not that you're there yet at all, but like at, where you would cap it at like, okay, I've done as much as I can grow in Redlands. I need to spread, like you said, right now you're really hyper famous in this one spot. At what
yeah,
point would you see yourself like, okay, time to take this show over here?
when I do my first book show at either the Improv or Ice House, and see if they show out. If the people, if I can get like 10 people.
Mm,
Not that, not that's not unreasonable for the amount, like hundreds of people I've built up at this point.
right.
Um, if I
How
can
many
get like
people have
10,
been, not to make it numbers or whatever, how many people have been consistently coming out or like in general that you find returners?
I don't, I don't tell them when I'm coming out, so I just show
No,
up.
I mean like
And
when you are there, do you not have people
every
who are like, "Hey, I knew you'd be here again, and so I came to watch you."
every time, a lot.
And
Like,
that's what I'm saying is like of those people, if you had to give me a
oh,
ballpark of how many of those
I,
people are
I would say about 50.
there. Okay, that's shocking.
Yeah, yeah. So if I'm at the Ice House and like 10 to 15 people show up because I just posted it,
Mm.
one, that's going to be really good to the Ice House,
Oh yeah,
and or the Improv or whatever.
yeah.
And two, it means that like, okay, it took me about, I want to say 500 followers
Hmm.
to get those 15 people. Okay, now I'm going to move to a different spot, or I'm going to look for another place to do street stand up and just start building there and do the same thing.
Right.
Um, and because it's just me, and this is why I'm just not going to put as much stock into the community anymore, is because when it's just me, there is no headache. The dude, the fucking headache of giving a shit about an entire community, I can't even describe. Especially an entire community of fucking degenerate comedians. I
Oh
love
yeah.
them,
Like
but like,
the narcissism that is artists, and then on top
yeah,
of that specifically comedians. Like yeah, you're bending yourself over backwards to rein in all the like, yeah, be at the right place. Yeah, we gotta do a show. Come on. But like when
yeah,
it's
man.
just you and you're just in charge, or you can make yourself do stuff.
Yeah, easy. And it's like all of that energy that I was dispersed into a community, now that it's all focused on me, it's like, oh, this is working.
Yeah.
So, I've had a couple of comics hit me up asking about street stand up, wanting to come out and see it. I've had people hit me up asking about like if I can help them and stuff, which I'm up to do. If you want my help, I got you.
Mm.
But I
In what,
just
in what way do they mean help? What in what regard?
help with like motivation, help with motivation and drive and whatnot.
I was about to say, I'm like, isn't the thing of street stand up you get a speaker and a mic and then you like hitting an open mic, you just kind of do it?
Oh, I'm not helping them with that. I don't want them to do that. I don't want anybody to do that.
Okay.
I'm helping, like they ask me for help in the sense of like finding drive or motivation to do what we're doing.
Mm.
And I'm even getting to this place where I'm starting to think that that's not something that can be taught.
Drive and motivation.
I don't think you can teach somebody that.
It's a very mixed bag. I know there are some people who pride them. There are gurus on specifically that kind of thing, but I also am kind of like, if the drive isn't, it doesn't feel like something you motivate. It's just it does. It's one of those things like you have the drive because you're passionate about the thing, because you want to
Right.
do the thing. It's like if I have to convince you to like chase your dream, then I don't think it's your dream. Then I don't think you're about it.
Man, you wouldn't believe. Like, I'm not gonna say people's names because that would be
Right, right,
inappropriate.
right.
But okay, I'll do pre quarantine, post quarantine. Way I would have handled it. Pre quarantine. First off, I heard that all the time. Pre quarantine was like, how do you do this? I want to do this. I want to start a show. I want to whatever. And I'd be like, all right, here, let me help you out. I will check in on you on a daily basis. I'll do that. And I would do that. They would get angry with me or annoyed because I was checking in with them.
Yeah.
And then they would get upset. And then it's like, all right, and I would do that over and over again. So now my strategy with it is because I still give a shit about people. That's what, like, I know I'm taking a more selfish angle, but I still give a shit about other people's success. Like, I want everyone to fucking make it. I know that we all want to make this,
Right.
and I'll help if I can. But now it's like if you ask me for help, I'll give you the advice, and if you want if you want to work something out, we can work something out.
Right.
But I'm not organizing it for you. I'm not. I'm tired. And it's funny because it's already happened a few times. Like a few times, people will message me and be like, let's do this. And I'll be like, okay, I got you. Let's do this. Then crickets. Give it, shit you not, 24 hours. And I don't hear a goddamn thing about it.
Huh.
So I don't understand it. I don't understand why are people coming to me about this if they're not going to listen? You know what I mean?
Right. That's interesting. I mean, I understand it because it's like that weird thing where it is people want to be successful. Kevin Hart said it, right? It's like you want to be successful, but you don't want to put in the work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like people want to have the end goal. People don't want to do the thing that would get you famous and rich and be a millionaire. People want to hit the lottery. People want to just do one thing and then it takes off and then they're that. Because I don't know, they don't respect the process, or they don't. I also am kind of confused as to why. Like I personally also want to get there fast. You think I don't want to get there fast? You think I don't want to just immediately be on stage and doing my thing and making people laugh and not have to worry about my bills? I'd love that. That'd be dope for me. But in the meantime, I'm not doing stuff. I'm not trying different avenues. I don't think I'm too good for it. And I think for me, that's a part of it. It's this weird entitlement where it's like, I shouldn't have to try. They should just know that I'm amazing off the one time I do it and then be like, this is the dude. And then like pick you up and then just like everyone moves things for you because you're so amazing. Because somebody saw something in you and did it for you. And I'm like, I just don't think that even creates a good artist. I think if you are that kind of artist, you're just waiting to burn out. You're like when everybody's kind of placating you. That's how you end up. Everybody understands the concept of yes men. Like, how's that just not the most ultimate version of yes men? Like putting you in front of everybody, giving you a straight path where nobody tells you you're bad. And then you just end up being whatever it is. And it's very interesting because I do understand the initial, because everybody has the initial. I've had tons of thoughts that I've not gone through with. Like, I've had a lot of ideas that I'm like, oh, that would be a great idea. And then I don't do anything with. I understand that. And essentially, I don't try to make it anyone's thing. Like, that's where I get confused, because if I have an idea and I bring it to somebody else, that means I'm about it, because I'm not about to be the kind of person that's like, I want to do this, tell somebody else, and then watch me not do it at all. It's like I'm very like, when I say I'm going to do something, and like I'm a man of my word, like if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do that. And the only things that will stop me is like death and like horrible tragedy. Like those are the things that will get in my way of whatever amount of time it takes to get there. Because again, the more I've grown, the more time that passes, the more I realize it's like, it's not nothing is impossible. Like, I know this is gonna sound very like Disney, but like
Yeah.
nothing's impossible, dude. We learned how to fly. We figured out
Yeah.
how to fly. If we can do that, like, and especially if you're talking about dreams that you already see, like you see somebody doing it, it's not like a new foreign concept that nobody can understand. It's like just you can get there. Just do the thing. Just do the thing.
This is gonna sound really cocky, and I don't mean it to be, but like I think it's fair to say that I obviously I think outside the box, or that I do things in a way that's a little offbeat from everyone else,
Mm-hmm.
but they work. I work at it, and they seem to work. The buddy system is for as frustrating as it was still doing what I wanted it to do. We had mics. We started getting the improv. Like, it was still working.
Yeah.
Took a long time. Still working. And now that I'm not doing that and I'm doing my own thing, that is clear, objectively, numbers still working.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why why people won't listen to me at this point. Like, clear, I think I have a track record of like, oh, okay, he works hard at this and it starts to work. He seems to have, there's something. I'm doing something right here.
Right.
I don't understand why people won't, like, if you want my advice, why you won't fucking listen to it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. And I think it comes down to at least this is where I've gotten with it. I think it's a fear. I think it's a like, what would happen if I tried and I failed? Like, you can always tell yourself, if I tried, I would get there, and it would be like if I put in all my effort, if I tried my hardest, it'd be like that. Like, people would love me. They'd be about it for sure. But like, if you actually try your hardest and it doesn't go, then like, I think it's such a hit to the ego. It's such a hit to your self-esteem to be like, oh, I'm not that amazing. I actually have to try harder. I actually have to grow. I actually have places to change. I think in that capacity, that's where a lot of people get hicked up. Is like, they don't want to have to touch that. People would rather say like, if I was rich, I would do this, than actually go through the trouble of getting rich. It's just like, it's easier. It's easier to complain about it than it is to do it. And I think that's what it comes down to.
Well, it's fucking annoying, and I don't like.
Oh yeah.
I don't like people hitting me up. What?
To me, that's why I don't have as big. Now, again, there's a bunch of gray area here, but this is where my airy fairy lightness comes in. This is why I don't hate billionaires and millionaires the way that a lot of people do, where they're like, you guys should do this with your money and you guys should do that with your money, because if I was rich, I'd do this. It's like, you're at your level, right? And you're annoyed with people coming at you being like, freaking, give me. Imagine you built an actual empire. Like, you're the CEO of Amazon. And then you imagine the number of people, and like, they are not even trying. They're not trying even a little bit to create anything. And you built an empire, and they're like, you should give to me. Give to me. I'm like, well, like, that's not, it's the thing where like, when people start talking about like down with capitalism, I'm like, dude, y'all don't even function well in capitalism, and y'all blame capitalism. Like, if we had the communist thing where we just, everybody got whatever, we would surely all work hard. It's like, you guys don't work hard when there's actual detriment to not working hard. Like you're telling me that when you get everything that you want, which there is an argument, because you can make an argument that like, once your stuff is satisfied at like a taken care of level, that you can start to actually try and like chase your dreams. But when you're so worried about paying the bills that you end up in a circle of misery, there's hard arguments. I understand it. But at the same time, I'm just pointing out the fact that the people who work hard tend to have some resentment against the people who are piggybacking. Or if they're not even piggybacking and they're just like sitting there doing nothing and complain about it. And then they're pointing at the people who work hard, like, you took from me by trying hard. You just like, again, it's that thing we said about you and street stand-up, where it's like only a matter of time before people are mad at you for doing it. And I can see it, like, at some point, somebody will listen back to this podcast who's also salty at you and just needs to, you know how people will hate watch something? Because I do it.
Yeah.
But it's like they'll hate watch it, and they'll hear you say, I don't want people doing street stand up. I don't want to share. That's me being selfish. I don't want to share. And they'll be like, see, he's trying to keep it from us. See, he wants all the followers for himself. And it's like, you can listen to Aaron say that. Just for a point of reference, I'm gonna play defense mode here. You can listen to Aaron and be mad about the fact that he's doing him and saying that like he doesn't want other people to do it. But honestly, real talk, Aaron can't stop you from doing street stand up. If you want to go buy a speaker and do street stand, just don't go to Redlands. Pick another place. There's millions of places. Or do go to Redlands. It doesn't matter. Do you? He's not gonna come over and be like, "Hey, this is my turf, bitch." Kick over your speaker. The Aaron Chase squad. You have a bunch of people in your t-shirts with the 3 a.m. Denny's energy, and they just turn into a gang, like beat up on other comedians. Yo, we read Aaron Chase, Aaron Chase, bro. Yo, this is the ACMM. Yo, recognize the ACMM, bro.
It's funny, like, I can't stop anybody. I think I said this before. Someone wants to do it, they can do it. I'm not going to be able to stop them, and I'm not going to try to stop them.
Exactly.
But yeah, just don't go to my spot. There's so many other spots. Don't go to my spot where I clearly established like I do a thing here. Mm-hmm. But you know what's crazy is when and on that day that someone tries to do this as well, if they're from around here, probably they're going to go to that exact same spot.
Oh, yeah. Probably. Because they see it works. They don't want to, again, the whole thing is they don't want to try to do something new. They don't want to try to like expand and do their own thing. They want to piggyback off the success of something you already created. They want to stand on the shoulders of giants and not in the I understand and respect the people who I'm standing on top of, but in the taking advantage, climbing on the back and over the top of. But it's very interesting because like that energy is destined to keep you down. It's kind of like Carlos Mencia gets away with doing his comedy up to a point, but then that has a downside. Nobody respects him. Nobody really likes him. Nobody really goes to see him like that because you know that he's a bad person. It's like it's not good. Same with like everybody who's ever stolen material. And that's a bigger jump. But it's like when you have that energy that you need to take, it's like nobody wants to be around that. Nobody wants to deal with that. And if you think you're going to go to Aaron's spot with the speaker and do your thing, again, no experience. Because like you said, this isn't something you just jump in on and are amazing at. You can't just go and do like your 10 minutes and then just sit there. It's like you're going to have to learn regardless. So it's like it really doesn't matter even on that level because you're already in it that like they can't catch up yet. Like they would have to start. And at this point, you've been doing it for long enough that by the time they get to where you are now, you will have moved on to the next thing. And again, yeah. So it's a very meta thing. But I also kind of think, if I'm being honest, again, to go back to like Lazy's blaming, they don't even want to do that. Like I said, it's like they'll say all day, you can't stop them. But how many are really gonna? How many are really gonna? The buddy system that you created, how many real like, and again, and not that it's this, and not that you meant for it to be this, but like competition mics that were like, how many other people were like, the buddy system, we've made our version and we're doing our version of it. Then like there may have been like one or two, but given all the comedians who were salty about it, you'd think there'd be like 15 or 20. Like it's just that energy. It's like there's people who hate enough to just complain. There's people who hate enough to ride the coattails and be behind you. And then there's everyone else who just loves it and respects it. And it's like you gotta focus on the side that's doing you positive. Again, don't worry about those that are like trying to take from you. Yeah, and they'll inevitably either cannibalize themselves and like cause their own self-destruction, or they'll just be that in the shadows of doing something you already did.
Yeah, this is a good way to end it.
Okay. All right, guys, that's been A to Z, another episode in the bag. Hopefully I remember to down. I'm actually going to do it immediately after so I don't forget this time. But thanks for tuning in, you guys. Thanks for staying with us. Those of you that are in the chat, anybody who is, I don't even know. I think it's just you right now. Yeah, just you. But that's cool. For those of you who are watching it later, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening to us talk about stuff. For more of this, I mean, you're already on the channel that it's on, hopefully. But if not, you can catch more of the A to Z podcast on YouTube under the Buddy System Comedy. We have a new episode up every Friday, just the same day that we do the podcast. Then also below me again is Aaron Chase. You can find him on Instagram at Aaron Chase 91. I don't know why I wanted to say underscore. At Aaron Chase 91. You can also listen to his ACMM podcast, the one that we mentioned earlier in the episode, also on YouTube. It's great. It's good stuff. And I'm Zero Remsen. You can find me at @0_KR Anime, which is usually where we live stream the podcast itself every Friday. Also, you can check out my YouTube channel by just Googling Zero Remsen. Everything that's under my name has been posted by me, and it's under the same page. So, go check out your boy. I post a bunch of stand-up skits and other podcasts that I do with another guy. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you. Salut.